Welcome to the WOD Pod. Join me as I sit down with CrossFitters, fitness experts, top coaches, professional athletes, and other well-known gym goers to listen to their journey through fitness. In this week's episode with Adam Hindley, I dive into Adam's transition to becoming a vegan athlete. I found out why he made the decision to eat a plant-based diet and the benefits he's found from doing so. Since becoming a vegan and then launching his business last year, he's currently the fittest, strongest and happiest he's ever been. Adam, welcome to the pod, the WOD Pod episode number 3. We're actually getting better at this. We've got an official backdrop, first backdrop of the series, and perfecting the audio. So for people watching on YouTube, obviously the setup has improved. For those on the on Spotify, you'll have to go on, jump on and have a look at the YouTube channel as well. First of all, thanks for coming on. Let's start with your background into fitness. Where did your fitness journey begin?
Yeah, so I think me and you have followed like a very similar path in terms of our fitness journey. But I started out about 8 years ago, just training, getting into exercise and stuff like that, and then I started doing a lot more in terms of bodybuilding and things like that. And I got to a point in my life where I was like, I had enough of like just drinking, uni life, just going out too much, and I just needed something to commit to. And that's when I decided that we're gonna go down the path of like losing weight and going into that side of things. I ended up losing 30 stone in about 18 months. 30 kilos. 30 stone.
It's ridiculous. You'd have disappeared.
Yeah. So 5 stone, 30 kilos in 18 months.
In fact, didn't you make it into the newspaper? Pretty sure there was like was it on?
Yeah, Yorkshire Evening Post, Uni Lad, and then the Mirror as well, Mirror Online. Big like 2-page feature on it. Crazy.
Claim to fame.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, the kind of the whole point of that was like being a bartender, drinking loads, and then obviously going on stage doing bodybuilding. So it's like from shots to shreds.
Well, that was it, 'cause we kind of did the men's physique at a similar time.
Yeah.
We were both like gym training, and then I think you competed the season before, and then I jumped on stage. Right, we both did it once, and we were like, yeah, that's enough.
That's enough for me. But that's the thing, though. It's like with bodybuilding, with the part of it, it's all about your appearance, how you look, and obviously now we both do CrossFit and everything. It's like it's about how you move, it's how the weight you're lifting, it's about how you perform, and like not focusing on just the vainness of it being just about the aesthetics of what you look like all the time was something that really, really like it just got to me, and it really affected my mental health. Body dysmorphia through the roof.
Yeah.
The dieting and everything really affected my relationship with food and stuff as well. And it was all of these kind of things that I think a lot of bodybuilders go through, but they don't talk about. And it's issues that if you stay in it, and like I did it, and then I did another competition a month later because I was in it and I really loved it at the time. But then when I stopped and I like reflected on it and looked back at it, I was like, this is just not for me, and this is really, really messing up my mental health, relationship with food, and relationship with my body and myself. It was really, really a broken system. Now, obviously, into the world of CrossFit, we've competed a few times together, and
it's almost mirrored. Like when we did men's physique, we were kind of doing it at the same time, and then we both almost discovered CrossFit at a similar time, then did our first comps at the same time. But yeah, it's like, it's completely different. I much prefer it. It's like the freedom of not, like every day was so focused on step count, calorie count, tracking calories. If you have a beer, you feel guilty. If you have a pizza, you feel guilty. Now I'm like, it doesn't matter. You just usually feel used for training.
Yeah, that's way better. Yeah, it's like it gives you the ability to live your life in a way that you want to live your life. Like I'm not trying to become a professional CrossFit athlete. I'm trying my best to be healthy, but to live a sustainable life. So if I hated myself because I was bodybuilding and I couldn't do that kind of thing when I was bodybuilding, I couldn't go out for people. Like I remember I went to a university reunion and had to order plain chicken. I mean, I'm vegan now, but at the time I had to order plain chicken and veg because I was out at a university like meeting all my mates, and because I were on prep, literally just plain chicken and veg. And it's like,
and looking back on it now, you think, what was I thinking? Yeah. But at the time, it was just, you get into that routine of like the prep cycle.
Yeah,
it felt normal at the time, but looking back now, it's like, what are you doing?
I don't want to sound like, it sounds like I am bashing bodybuilding. If people that are doing bodybuilding, like, go for it. If that's your vice, if that's your thing, and you can control and understand your own mental health throughout that, then amazing.
Yeah.
But if you can't, then it's something that massively affected me. Obviously, we've chatted a bit before about it, with the fact that it's not great for your mindset towards exercise and fitness.
Yeah, and I think that's why we're seeing so many people doing the same swap from gym, commercial gym training, men's physique, bodybuilding to CrossFit.
Yeah.
Like CrossFit's massively grown in the last couple of years. Like 3 or 4 years ago, there was only a few comps. Now there's comps every weekend in the UK. So yeah, that industry is growing, and I think people are starting to see the benefits of CrossFit.
Yeah, and it's the community side of it as well, isn't it? With the CrossFit, it's like you go into a box, you're going in, you're in the same hole, you're doing the same workout with about 20, 30 different people, and you're all in it together, and then you go to competitions, and it's like, I just remember the competition that me and James did. It's like that, I've never met James before, but then it's like I've got a new bond and like good mate from just doing one competition together. It's like a really weird kind of thing when you're in it together with someone in that term.
Like throwing down in a workout, it's like you're putting yourself on the line, but with the interest of helping that person. If you're doing bodybuilding, it's all such a solo thing. Like going to the gym to train a muscle group on you, even with someone, it's very individual. You're doing it for your own benefit. Whether if you're in a workout or a competition with someone, the effort you put in is also for your teammate. So it's like a really it's really engaging with them. So I can't remember, when did you start doing physio? Because
so I've been so I've stopped doing physio now, but I started doing physio. Well, I'm 29 now. I was 22 when I finished uni. So I was doing that for about 5.5, 6 years.
Because that was the goal, to be a physio for life.
Yeah. I mean, I really like physio. I thought it's great. Like the knowledge that I've got and like what I've learned about not only my own body, but how about movement for other people's bodies and things like that was incredible. And that was always my forte. I've been like the movement guy, understood how biomechanics, how people moved. I could watch someone do it and I'd know exactly what was tight or like what wasn't moving in the right direction, things like that. And I just got like, again, talking about like the mental health side of it, I got really bored and drained and just lethargic all the time about being in the same four walls. Literally my life was in this white room, these four walls white room. I didn't want to do that anymore. And like
your physio went online, didn't it? So it became, because you were doing physio at Region one stage, which was, I guess that was more engaging because you had people coming in for actual physio appointments, but then you did the online physio, which is essentially just at a laptop.
Yeah. Well, I went from one white room doing in-person physio to another white room doing it on a laptop.
Yeah.
But with less human interaction.
Yeah.
So it was like, I mean, I enjoy it, and like I still have a few clients that I still work with now that like it's kind of like a PT physio hybrid, but it's like the idea of that being my main outlet, as much as it gave me freedom, but it was during COVID, so it didn't really give anyone any freedom. But like as much as it gave me like freedom if I could do it from a laptop anywhere, it just wasn't a sustainable thing that I wanted to grow. So that's why I left and I'm doing what I'm doing now.
And at the time, when I actually came through to when you were doing physio at Region, we filmed a video with Luke.
Yeah.
And you were doing the LA Obsession. Yeah. Will we ever see a return of LA Obsession? That was a great YouTube channel, like the challenges, the videos, a few viral ones in there.
It was good. Like I loved it, and like we got to do some really cool videos with like Sonny Webster and things like that as well. And I love. I mean, I still do YouTube now in the property space, which I do stuff, but it's like the LA Obsession. Like Luke's gone off and he's doing his own shit now, and he's absolutely killing the game. Doing the stuff with them guys that he's working with, and still very, very close with Luke. He's like my best mate still, but it's just at the time, like it was just the amount of work that, because I edited everything and I came up with the ideas, I did everything. Luke just kind of showed up,
turned up, filmed it,
and went home, and I just everything else. But and it was just the synergy between us. Just we were a bit off with it, so it was just like, you know what, mate, you go do your thing, I'm gonna go do my thing, but still best mates to this day.
And actually, with the YouTube hustle, it's such a large amount of effort for very little reward. Like the money you make off YouTube is minimal.
Kind
of thing. So ultimately, the challenges you do were like really fun. I think one wasn't the one went viral about the splits? Wasn't that like learning to do splits in?
Yeah. Well, that was after Luke left. So when Luke left the channel, I went off and started doing my own thing. And the idea and the concept was that I was going to do things like burning X amount of calories in a day, like how much exercise you'd have to do, like learning the splits in a week, doing things like we're like going to do like how much can I improve my bench press in a week kind of thing. And it was more about, again, going into that biomechanics of like, I'm not bothered about, I'm not going to get stronger in a week, but it's like, how can I physically change my biomechanics to move my body more functionally and learn the better technique in a short period of time to make myself better at movement.
Because that's when you're doing the physio. Those videos were very clickbaity, but also tied in with physio.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's like this. I think the splits one has got about 120,000 views, which obviously, as someone who's got less than 5,000 subscribers at the time, it's like
it's huge,
a huge amount. And I mean, that was like, again, I brought that down. I went to train with like Niall Wilson and Luke at gymnastics, and went through all the stretching that they did there. I went and spoke to Regen, my old boss, about it and stuff, and broke down kind of the anatomy of what is actually going on when we're stretching a muscle, what is actually happening to lengthen a muscle, and then just constantly, obviously, stretching for like 3-4 hours a day. To try and get the splits. And I improved. I can't remember what it exactly was, but I didn't. Spoilers, I didn't get the splits, but it's like I improved by like 8 inches in front splits, and then 9 inches on the other side, and then like 17 inches on, like,
ridiculous on the width
on like the box splits. So it was like the actual amount that you can change your body in that short pace of time was crazy. But I'm kind of a bit, again, COVID kind of happened around that time, and it was bad timing, but it meant that I couldn't go to the gym to try these challenges, so I had to try and adapt. And it was like, okay, how can I burn? So one of the videos was, how can I burn 5,000 calories just body weight, like just doing body weight movements. So like running, obviously went on a long run, did a load of other stuff, but it was like just little stuff like that just kind of brought a little bit of, not only is it clickbaity, but people want to watch it, but trying to make stuff like that entertaining at the same time.
I think we all did that in lockdown. We were just doing anything to stay sane. Just didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's it. But it was good fun, and I love doing that kind of stuff and them kind of challenges and entertaining people. And if you can entertain, like you bridge that gap between entertainment and like actual useful advice, and you can bring that together and actually make valuable content that does both. Like that's what social media is for, and that's what I try to do.
I think that's it.
I'm doing now.
It's either make it really informative, or entertaining, or a mixture of the two.
Yeah. And I think there's so many people that are like, they've got so much knowledge about stuff, but they're just boring to listen to. It's so boring. Yeah. And there's people that have got like, they're really attractive, or they might have like a lot going on for them in terms of their abilities and things like that, but they don't really have that knowledge to back up what they're saying. So you get a lot of fitness influencers that release fitness plans that just because they've got a big following, based on what? Because they look good. Yeah. And it's like, it's not backing up that knowledge. And I wanted to kind of bridge that gap. Obviously, I've got a degree in physio at the time, and then I had all this content that I was making about fitness. How can we make the knowledge and then the entertainment kind of hybrid together and merge?
Well, maybe we'll see a return.
Maybe one day, but for right now, physio has definitely been put on the shelf for the time being.
You mentioned earlier, obviously, briefly mentioned the vegan. That's one thing I really wanted to dive into in the podcast, obviously with it being a fitness podcast. Being a vegan. When did you turn vegan, and what was the reason for turning vegan?
So I went vegan in, so I started out, so there was a 6-month transitional period, which I think is really like key. So like there's vegan and then there's plant-based, and I don't want people to get kind of the wrong idea. This is like, I am vegan, like I don't use animal products in terms of if I'm buying a shampoo or conditioner, I will avoid I won't do tested on animals or things like that. It'll be cruelty-free and that kind of stuff. But I'm not kind of the protests kind of thing. It's like, I'm doing my bit, I will not contribute towards it. I don't care what you do, you can kind of do what you want kind of thing. But I started in, it was 2020. No, 2020? Yeah, 2020. So the back end of like the first lockdown. When my ex-girlfriend found out she had rheumatoid arthritis, and a lot of the factors that come from rheumatoid arthritis is to do with inflammatory stuff. and red meat has a lot of inflammatory products, so it causes you to be more inflamed. So she was like, okay, I'm going to cut that out. Obviously, we cooked a lot of meals together and stuff like that, so I just stopped eating that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And then dived into it a little bit more and realised that dairy, there's loads of stuff about the dairy industry, so I ended up cutting that out. And then in September, I went vegan for the full month, literally just to try it. And I was like, kind of almost, it was more for social media as well, in terms of like, I wanted to trial what I would feel like as someone who has eaten meat all my life, would have laughed at you if you just said a year before that I would have been vegan.
Yeah.
Like, I love the bacon sarnie, that kind of thing. It was just one thing that you would never expect, or I would have never expected future me to be.
Yeah.
To be vegan. And then, so I did it for the month, and I was like, I'm just, in my mind, I'm like, my health comes first. If I feel like I'm not recovering, my performance, my training isn't getting any better, and I'm being hindered because of it, I will go back to it. And that was one thing that I always kind of believed in and lived by, that I'm first, I'm priority number one. And then I did the month and felt great. I actually lost weight. I felt leaner. I felt better. And a lot of people say that when you do that for the first month, you do, because you're eating so much vegetables that you get like a nutrient rush kind of thing, so you feel better. Then it kind of levels out a little bit. But after that month, I did go back to I didn't have any red meat anymore. I didn't have any chicken, so there were no kind of like animal products like that. It was more like vegetarian, and so I had eggs and I had fish as well. So eggs and fish at that time as well. And then that's kind of give me a transition period of then between like, that was October to the new year, of where like I was learning new recipes, I was learning how to cook and things like that in better ways being vegan, which then allowed me to go fully vegan in the new year with all this knowledge backing it up. Whereas a lot of people would just go like, bang, doing it straight in, and it's not sustainable to do that because you don't know enough about not only food and things like that, but you don't know enough about recipes and cooking and how to make your food not taste bland as shit because of it.
It's like anything. If it's like, I mean, say if it's just down to dieting, you're never going to just suddenly go, 800 calorie deficit. You have to slowly work into it.
Yes.
Slowly brace yourself for something that's completely different.
Yeah, exactly. It's sustainability.
So how long was the period where you were like hybrid?
So yeah, that was August to the new year. So what, 5 months?
5 months.
No, not 5 months.
About 5 months.
Yeah, about 5 months.
Would you say that? So anyone obviously deciding to or considering going vegan to do a 30-day trial, what would you say? Do it the approach you did it?
I would do it as in like, what elements would you really want in your life right now? If there's certain ones that you don't, and you don't really, say you might not have red meat, like, okay, cool, then just say that I'm not going to have any more red meat and maybe try and move on to something else. It's about finding replacements for the thing that you have in your everyday. Like, cutting out dairy, one of the weirdest things was I had porridge every morning, but I had milk in my porridge. So I like changing that for almond milk and then changing my coffee milk for oat milk and things like that. And it's like doing it slowly to find your replacements rather than just going like, oh, I know I'm going to have a pizza. What am I going to have now? Kind of thing. I mean, there's so many, like, when I started, it was quite good. People starting like a few years before me, and now it's even better. With like the options for replacements, like you can even go to McDonald's and like Burger King and get like vegan alternatives and stuff like that. And like the Beyond Meat burgers and stuff like that, class and all these kind of things. So there's so many different options for people now that may worry about protein intake or that kind of thing. Because obviously, like, that's my main worry when I started. But it's like you actually, like, I actually found that I just having so much more variety in my actual meals rather than going, oh, my protein source is a chicken breast. It'd be like, oh, I'm going to have some tofu, but I'm going to have some lentils and stuff. And then there's some protein in this as well and that. And like you making like a meal not based around one food, you're making it like around what it contains, so you get multiple things, which gives you more variety and nutrients as well, which is kind of
the things for me. The things that I would be hesitant to turn vegan for would be firstly the protein intake, because I wouldn't have a clue. What would you say are like the top 3 sources for protein as a vegan?
So as me now, I still obviously training a lot, so I do take protein shakes. I'm not saying protein shakes are the main one. So I do have a protein shake. I do have a lot of like the meat replacement style stuff, which is soy based a lot of the time. So a lot of it is like soybeans style thing. lentils and tofu are they're kind of my main ones there, really.
And now, if you ate a product that had meat in, would it be like a panic? Would you kind of be
no.
Or are you not doing it for that? So basically, it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah, well, I obviously care about kind of the animal rights side of things and stuff. But I was at a family meal a few weeks ago, and we went to I didn't choose the restaurant. We went to a restaurant, and they didn't have any vegan options. The only thing they had was like, it was an Italian restaurant, and the only thing they had was like a pizza that had cheese on it. And I asked them about the options for it, but I was just like, do you know what? It's one meal. It's not going to be the end of the world, but having dairy did mess with my stomach a lot.
So it's more from a physical point of view, it actually matters. But in terms of like mentally, it's not a huge issue if you do have a non-vegan meal.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I think that's again the whole thing about people go, well, you're not vegan then. And it's like, it's a blurred line. I'm fine, I'm plant-based, I don't care. Whatever you label you want to put on it is fine, I'm not bothered.
People get too caught up in being vegan and labeling it. Yeah, it doesn't need to be such a thing. I think your approach to it is really good, that you're not forcing it on people. And so what if you have a non-vegan meal now and again?
Yeah, it's exactly. And it's like, the thing is, a lot of people, I've got a friend who does this as well, that does CrossFit with us, is like, he's not bothered, he won't contribute towards it. So say if I'm buying a meal at a restaurant, I won't buy the non-vegan option if I've got a very good option there.
Yep.
But then what his stance is, I'm a little bit on this, like the fence on this, but he's like, he says that, okay, well, if then family don't finish the burger that they have, then, and he's still hungry, he would have it, because it's like he directly isn't contributing towards it.
Yeah.
But, and I can see that point, because it's like either way it's going to go to waste.
Yeah.
Either way, like that's done. So it's like whether you consume it or not is a different thing. And again, this is like the spectrum of like, everybody's going to have a different opinion on this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's a massive rabbit hole of where people see it. But for me, it's like, I do it for me. It's like my contribution towards my thing. And I'm hitting PRs all the time. I don't feel like my recovery is ever lacking. Like I hit a new snatch PR like literally a week ago.
Yeah.
And it's like when you're doing them, when you're hitting them kind of numbers.
Making progress and you're eating a vegan diet, it's clearly working.
Yeah, it's like I don't need to add that in, and people go, oh, what if you progress further and faster? It's like, I'm not a professional athlete, I don't care, I'm living my life kind of thing. Yeah. So it's like I'm making progress at my own pace, but I'm just doing it in a way that I see as being sustainable and contributing towards a good cause.
Yeah.
I guess.
And since the podcast is sponsored by What Powders, they have a nice vegan protein. It'd be a great point just to do a little vegan protein taste test. So we'll get a shake made. Let's do it.
I've had this before. I do like it. It's very, very. It's like a lot of vegan proteins. I must say, like there's a lot through. We won't name any other brands, but there's a lot that like they do taste like dirty or bitty, and or like they don't blend very well. They're very clumpy. As someone that's tried a lot of different vegan proteins to try and find a good one, this is definitely one that is right up my street. Let's go. Thing is as well, is like you don't, like with this, like a lot of them you do need like blender balls and stuff like that. It's like, I mean, I still use one when I'm doing it, but
yeah, so it's actually a mix of hemp, pea, rice.
Yeah.
I think if you just go for one of the plant-based proteins, they're always too like chalky or grainy. I think when you get a blend of all three, it works quite well.
Yeah, definitely. And like that's the thing, it's that again, don't quote me on the science and this kind of thing, but it's I believe that a lot of times when this is something that obviously meat-based proteins have as an advantage, I might be wrong, but I believe that it's like 23 or 27 essential amino acids, and like having in plants there is apart from tofu, there is no complete amino acid, complete profile in a vegetable. That's why you've got to have multiple things on your plate to create a complete amino acid profile. Whereas like I think in animal products, because the animals eat the different things and eat the grains and all the different things, there's more of a complete profile within there.
Which is actually why in the vegan protein we put a load of amino acids in there. Extra. A load of meat. Can you imagine? So yeah, you've got a full amino acid profile in there as well.
Yeah, that's it.
So would you say, since turning vegan, your CrossFit training has improved? I suppose you've never done CrossFit probably as a non-vegan.
No, I started properly doing CrossFit like post-COVID, so that was when
And that was kind of the same time.
Now it's like the same time that I kind of transitioned. So I'd done training for it before, and I'd done CrossFit workouts, but obviously your fundamentals of it are the same. Like I'm still going into the gym trying to PR my back squat. I'm still trying to go into which I was doing before. I might be learning new movements, like obviously like cleans and snatches and things like that. But you're going into training basically with the same fundamental things. If you want to get faster, you want to get more endurance, and you want to get stronger.
Yep.
And I haven't been hindered in any of them things. So it's impossible for me to go back and go like, oh, well, if I'd have spent the 3 years being a meat eater, what changes would that have been and what difference would that have made? But like,
you'll never know, but that doesn't matter because you're still making the progress. So
exactly. Like,
why change it?
Yeah, I'm still putting in the work. I'm still doing the training, and I'm, like I say, making progress as I'm doing it. So it's like, as everyone goes through like your peaks and troughs with your training and stuff like that, and like some days you're feeling really strong and some days you're not, and maybe that is to do a lot with, well, it is always to do with your nutrition and how you fueled yourself for it and stuff like that. But yeah, it's, my training's going well at the minute. Like I say, PR'd literally last week. It's like,
exactly.
Can't really complain.
Have you got any comps lined up?
No comps lined up. I've just been so busy with the new business and new work stuff in property. It's just been that, like, I've had to prioritise that, and it's like my training has definitely been, like, CrossFit training in general has been like normally book onto a class. I can't book onto a class because I'm in Manchester at one of the properties, and I book a class for 5 and there's traffic on the M62 coming back.
So obviously this is a fitness podcast, but let's talk about the property. Since we're there, we're pretty much there. That's all you've been talking about off camera. So let's go for it. When did you start the property thing? Well, actually, I remember because I think we were in the car and you going, I think I'm just gonna completely jump ship from doing physio.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go into property. I was like, okay.
Yeah. We were literally going to Wadlands
Just finished at Wadland.
So I left doing physio. I left the business, the business that I was in. I left that business in August, sold my shares in that, sold my ownership, and then I went, using that money, I went into property education and setting up and getting things set up with that. And then basically I do what's called rent-to-rent. It's rent-to-rent arbitrage is what some people know it as, but it's basically I take a property off a landlord, rent it through a company, so it's like a company lease agreement, and then I use that on Airbnb, booking.com for short-term stays. So you pay a rent of £1,000, then you charge that place out for £100, £120 a night. After 10 days, you've made your rent, you pay that. Another 5 days, you pay your gas, electricity, and your bills and stuff. The rest of the time is money.
Everything else is the profit. It's really weird because last episode had Dan on. I was thinking this is all going to be CrossFit based, and we ended up speaking about his property stuff. I may as well just change it to a property podcast.
Yeah,
I've just started doing it as well.
Just put like a little house.
I'm sure we can make it work. Jamie can edit that.
But yeah, no, that's it. And I got 11 properties now, and I started in August, so it's going pretty well.
Going well. And have you got any goals with the business?
Well, yeah, it's just to I want it to be able to create generational wealth. I want it to be a business where it's systemized. I don't necessarily need to be a part of it, and it's just something that's there that's paying me in the background. I mean, I ain't seen 5-6 of my properties in 3 months.
Yeah,
because they're just working for me now. They're just systemizing the working, so it's just generating that, and it's helping other people get into it as well. I have again going deeper into something else, but it's one of my kind of my purposes or life goal kind of things is to help people be more financially literate and to understand money and how things work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
More in terms of that you don't need to be paid for your time, which a lot of people are. As a physio, people paid me £40 a session, probably quite cheap now, but £40 a session for 45 minutes of my time to do an assessment.
And that's always going to be capped because
I've only got so much time now, whereas I'm not the asset anymore in my new business. The property is the asset. So I'm here recording a podcast. 8 of my 11 properties are filled with people right now.
And they're still making you money.
That's making me money whilst I'm sat here. So it's like I've removed myself from being the asset.
Yep.
And put that on to the property and to the things that I'm using, and that's how I wanted to live my life. It's making you money work for you.
Yeah.
Again,
So
financial podcasting as well.
God knows what this series is. Isn't it? So I guess that's smart. And actually, I suppose when it comes down to, do you need to actually be in the country? Like, could you run your business from abroad?
Yeah, well, I've got plans to move to Dubai. I want to set the same thing up in Dubai because obviously there's a hell of a lot of influencers or there's a hell of a lot of people that go to Dubai and stay for maybe a month. So there's a massive demand there for short-term rentals, and that's exactly what my business model is. It's short-term rentals. So like doing that business model somewhere like Dubai or somewhere like Bali would be insane. That house prices in Bali are cheap as, but you could get an extremely good rate because people do that and they'll stay there for a month, 6 weeks.
I'm getting extremely jealous right now. England depresses me so much from the end of summer through to about this time of the year. The thought of you being in Bali, I'm just like, what am I doing?
I'll be at Wonderlust.
Oh, God. I'm getting FOMO.
Yeah.
Whilst we were chatting a little bit off camera, but you had a podcast.
Yeah, I've had 2 podcasts previously and obviously done a lot of social media content stuff in the past. And it's I met Rob, who I did my podcast with. You should definitely get him on as well whenever he's over.
Yep.
We met in Bali. We were both on a boat to the Gili Islands, and I saw a clocked a guy wearing another CrossFit Wonderlust tee, and I was wearing one. I have to chat to him.
Yeah, you got it.
And turns out we were staying in the same hostel, and then we went out and we got absolutely smashed the night out. And then the next morning we were outside the hostel that we were staying at, and they had like a barbell which was like bamboo.
Yep.
With like a paint pot full of concrete on each side.
That's class.
So we were like, should we just get some workout? Yeah. So we did a workout in Bali then, and then we just kept in touch. He started Hybrid Academy, a clothing brand, and then we just were like, you know what, should we start a podcast?
You know, that's the beauty of the CrossFit community. It just brings people together. You don't even have to have anything in common except the fact you both want to do CrossFit. Yeah, exactly. That's where it started. So, do you think you'll jump back onto that podcast with Rob, or is he kind of busy doing it?
We chatted about it, and there's some amazing tools going out there now around AI and stuff like that with editing, because that was literally, it's like I'm trying to run a business, he was trying to run a business. Recording the podcast wasn't an issue because that's an hour at a time, but it was the time that then I'd have to put in to edit that. And obviously when you're doing a startup podcast and we both had startup businesses, there wasn't funds there to give this to an editor to sort out. So, and that's what people don't see. They don't realise the editing behind the podcast is what takes up the time. Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, if you're trying to run a business, to do that on the side, it's like if anything's gonna drop, that's gonna take the back seat.
Yeah, definitely, because it was just, I love it. It's like therapy.
Yeah.
It's like literally, even though you're putting it out to the world, but a big thing for me is like, obviously previous businesses have been about health and well-being and fitness and things like that. I've always talked about my experiences when it's come to the body dysmorphia, the eating disorders, and like poor relationship with food and things like that. I've always spoke about like anxiety and overwhelm and things like that, and that's because I've seen that doing it on a podcast helped so many other people.
That's the thing. If everyone
on your own,
if everyone just spoke about their experiences, everyone would realise that it's actually quite normal to feel that.
Yeah.
So like the podcast you had, normalising life.
Yeah.
Literally doing that. If you just speak about your experiences, people then can relate to it and understand that if they feel that as well, actually that might be normal.
Yeah, that was exactly it. It was about just normalising the stuff that everybody goes through in life and stuff, and it was just chatting.
Yeah.
Like literally talking about cryptocurrency 1 minute and then just random news stories or something else. It was just random. But
this episode's done CrossFit, vegan, finance, property, the works. Okay, so the last. Well, do you think we'll see I think you should do a property podcast.
I've thought about it. It's one of them things.
Who's the guy that you've done that recently? Is it that
Samuel Leeds? Yeah, Samuel Leeds has been like my mentor, who I've done a lot of the training with, and I did his kind of interview for like it's called Winners on a Wednesday. So it's like every time he interviews like a success student. And yeah, I did that recently because obviously like I've gone from having nothing in August. Well, I had nothing in November. November's when I first started actually making money in it or getting properties. To like now, obviously what 6 months, 7 months later kind of thing. It's like
season 6 months.
Yeah, it's like 11 about to sign on 12 is kind of like a bit of a.
How does that stand for his typical clients? Are you pretty far ahead in terms of a 6 month progress, or would you say?
Oh yeah. And it comes down to this, like talking to people, putting content on social media, and doing different things like that, and literally showing people my knowledge. And there's so many people from like previous life that have reached out to me, been like really inspiring, like what you're doing, and like as again you're documenting it and you're showing it, and you're not just saying it in a way of look at me. You're like, these are the things that you can do to do it as well.
Yep.
And it's like doing them kind of things is like what I said before leads to that kind of higher purpose of being like, okay, when I have got everything set up and everything systemized, and then the finances are coming in through that business, I can be a lot more in terms of how can I help other people become more financially literate, understand money, understand the power, because me growing up, my parents didn't really know that, and they didn't understand that. And it would have saved them a lot of heartache, depression, and mental health issues if they'd have known that.
Yep. Because I know you source properties, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you also look for investors to actually... So do you source the property and then either invest their money on behalf of them, or do you just kind of link them directly and then take the commission? Or
So I have multiple businesses with it. Again, I don't dive too deep into it, but I have the ability to offer a hands-off process if people want. Obviously, the fees are a lot more if you want to give me money, find a property, manage it, refurb it and everything, do all the work. I can do that. I have the facilitation to do that, but it costs you more to do that. But it's like if you wanted me to find a property for you, like say if it's a refurb project or it's one of these rent-to-rent style ones, and then you wanted me to just give you it, you can run with it, then fine. I can help advise you along the way.
I suppose a lot of people, they don't want the hassle, they just want to invest the money.
It's my business. It's not like, say, someone like yourself, you've got your own job, you've got everything else going on. You don't want to have that property business. You want to have the properties working for you and making you money in the background. The business is me.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's my business to find them properties, whereas for other people, it's just their investment or their retirement fund and things like that.
So I suppose anyone listening to the podcast and they may have money to invest, they could come to you and say, I just want to invest some money. So you do it, source me the property.
Yeah.
And run with it.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely worth a conversation. But yeah, it's just that side of things is, I don't know. There's a lot of potholes. If someone wants to, they have a chat with me about it.
Right, we'll jump into some rapid fire questions to end the podcast.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Right, you ready? Favourite country you've travelled to?
Bali.
That was a quick answer straight away. If you could go on a night out with anyone in the fitness industry, who would it be?
Probably like Mike Thurston and them guys, Rob Lipsett.
Yeah. Actually, Ross Edgley would be a good one. Be an absolute mammoth. drink. I've
been out with a few people. Like, I went on after I filmed a video with Sonny. I went out and night out with him. That were fucking mental. And then a few with like, obviously like Luke and Niall and stuff like that. They've been some good nights. We haven't actually been on a night out yet.
Nah, we'll get it sorted. It's a sorted arrangement. Favourite mobility exercise when doing a warm down?
A warm down. So before you want to do mobilization, so you want to move through the movements, and then afterwards you want to be stretching. So I get quite tight glutes, so like a pigeon pose. A pigeon pose is definitely there.
I swear every time we train, you make me do that, and I'm like, yeah, I need to do this more. What's your go-to coffee order from Starbucks?
Oat milk latte.
Nice. I was hoping you weren't gonna say milk. After all that vegan spiel. Which CrossFit movement are you best at?
Snatch. Mobility.
Which CrossFit movement are you the worst at?
Muscle ups.
Muscle ups, yeah, I can't do that. As a cardio machine, which you absolutely are, what's your favourite erg?
Rower.
I thought you were going to say the assault bike because
Because that one.
when we pretty much won the event there.
Yeah, well, we won the event like for. Yeah, that were a hard event that one day. When you were just doing deadlifts, like you need to swap. I'm like,
no, I'm not.
No swapping.
If you were trapped on a desert island with one piece of gym equipment, what would it be?
Oh, it's got to be just a dumbbell, and you do so much with it.
I thought about this actually. I thought the thing I would take would be a squat rack.
Yeah,
because you'd be able to make a barbell.
If I've got a squat rack, are you allowed a barbell as well?
You'd make the barbell, but it'd just be nice to not have to clean it every single time you did squats. Give us one thing people won't know about you, but it's kind of weird and interesting.
I'm so like put everything out there. I don't...
Everything else fit away. No, go on. Is anything weird, bizarre?
I want to say it's like I have hypermobility, meaning like I can bend the tops of my fingers. Look at anybody else. No one else can really do that. I can do the thing where you can kind of get your thumbs touch your wrist, and if I extend my leg out fully, it like hyperextends.
Look at that. That's ridiculous. So anyone on Spotify, you need to go onto YouTube and see this freak show. Right, Adam, where can people find you?
So
yeah,
I've got Instagram I've got fitness page, which is just Adam_Hindley. Property is Adam Hindley Official, for that kind of stuff. YouTube, just all socials is Adam Hindley or Adam Hindley Official, and Instagram's the only really place where I post my fitness stuff, and then the rest of the place is all property stuff.
So fitness stuff, Instagram, and then we'll probably be seeing a property podcast.
Yes, property podcast. Well, I've got a property YouTube channel, which I'm doing a lot of content and stuff on that at the minute, and YouTube, TikTok. I had a video go like 3.6 million views. Another one.
Was that the painting one?
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah. I saw the comment. All that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That comment that I reacted to one of them comments, and that got more views than the actual video got.
Crazy.
The comment one got like saying it looked like a swastika was like 2.6 million, and then the other one got 1.8 million.
TikTok's a crazy platform.
Yeah, like that one that we did, like the 4.8 million views. I remember that day. It was so funny when we were just like, for context, there's a video where I got Tom and a couple of the lads that we were doing a photo shoot with at the time to all sit on a leg press, and we just loaded up all the weight.
It would have been about 1,000 kilos or something.
Yeah. And literally the idea was that it was a wait for it style video, so I was actually never going to do anything. But it was just like getting pumped up, getting ready to go, sit on the leg press, and then the video ends.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
And we were watching it like, did I miss it?
Yeah.
And it got 5 million views.
Yeah. So 5 million views later. I remember just speaking to you in the car, like, it's keeping going. It's not stopping.
Wicked.
It's funny.
Good episode. You can take the tub of vegan protein.
If
anyone wants a vegan protein, head over to wadpowders.co.uk. And thanks for listening to episode 3.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Been a pleasure. Peace. I hope you enjoyed that episode, and a huge thank you for listening. Make sure you're following the pod on Instagram @the.wad.pod, our Twitter @the_wad_pod. Podcast is sponsored by Wad Powders. That's @wadpowders on Instagram. Please show some support to the pod by either sharing this episode with a mate or buying some supplements from wadpowders.co.uk. See you guys next week.